Here is the introduction and explanation to assignment 4 for FCS 1500 Intro to Interior Design. This assignment builds from assignment 3, so keep that in mind as I begin to lay out the assignment and the details for it. It is due in week 12. Just for context, this is week 10 right now. So at the end of week 12 is actually the last week that we have in-person classes. So if you are completely online, you will submit PDF photos on the e-learning Dropbox. If you're in person, you will turn physical work in when you attend class or when the classroom is open that week. So here's the context. Now that you've created a body of photographs, models, and sketches from assignment 3, you will go through a process of visualization, refinement, and creation of presentation boards to illustrate your work. Below is a 3-part process to guide you through this assignment. The end result will be 2 18 by 24 inch presentation boards, foam core preferred, that include impactful photographs, renderings/sketches, design writing, process photographs, sketches, notes, and a 3-dimensional model display. So assignment 3 introduced you to working with the dimensionality and materiality of foam core and paper, as well as how to explore light and shadow at varying scales, such as the model scale and the human scale, and within varying realms, such as the physical realm, but also the photographic and 2-dimensional realm. Utilize that insight and push through assignment 4 to achieve these things. Elaborate and hone the full light and shadow experience. Showcase your artistry and mastery of material craft, and also apply graphic principles to a design presentation showcase. There will also be an additional element added to the mix, which is color. How does color interact with light and shadow? Throughout this assignment, we will explore the concept of color, light, and shadow through class discussions and lectures. You will carefully select one color of your choosing to incorporate into your sketch rendering. Think of your color choice intentionally, how you integrate it into your final drawing, how it reinforces the design concept and strategy, and how the media and medium of graphic communication help to capture the essence of your work. So here is the 3-part process. Strategize and visualize. Review the 2 attached presentation board templates. Each template represents an 18 by 24 inch board, illustrating an arrangement of photographs, images, process sketches, text, and a built-in shelf for the 3-dimensional model. You are tasked to create 2 presentation boards of your own. So you can use these as a guide, either maintaining the template design completely or altering it slightly to accommodate your specific needs. For example, some models are larger than others. So what images will you use and where? What text will you include and how much space will you need? Begin to make these considerations. During this phase, also inventory materials or supplies that you will need to create your boards. So there is a to-do for this part. You will complete the Strategize and Visualize planning guide, which is attached to this assignment, but it will also be uploaded on e-learning as a Word doc so that you can type right into the document. And then you will also diagram a 1-to-1 ratio of the orthographic projection of the built-in shelf that you will need to create to put your model on top of. I know that sounds like a lot, but it is fun and there's an example attached. The second part of this process is evaluate and refine. So review your current body of work from assignment 3. What items need improvement? Does your design concept need editing? Are your photographs still supporting your design concept and intentions? Do your drawings capture your project intentions? To do, complete the refinement checklist. This is also attached to this assignment and uploaded as a Word doc, again, so you can edit it and type into it. And part of the evaluation and refinement process will be us meeting and reviewing your assignment 3. I'll be providing feedback from assignment 3 and we'll talk about it. I know many of us have already started this process. And so this is all a part of the evaluation and refinement. So think of assignment 3 like the rough draft to assignment 4. And then the third part is to create and produce. So you will redraw your original drawings on vellum with a finished presentation style, incorporating the use of appropriate medias and mediums. And so by this, I'm referring to, are you going to use pencil, pen, your color marker, color pencils? It's sort of the same thing that we've been considering in 1490 of which type of tool to use on vellum. So think about that, and maybe you're starting to have preferences as well. And then carefully cut the pieces of vellum for mounting to your presentation board. Do you plan on scanning and printing a copy for your boards, or do you plan on using the original vellum version? So by this, obviously your single drawing of one of your perspectives will not be 18 by 24. So you will draw it as the size that it currently is on vellum on one of your sheets, and then you'll cut out that size and then mount that to the board. And you'll use one sheet of vellum to do all of your sketches and cut them out. But then you will handwrite in architectural lettering your title, design concept, image titles, and image captions. So what type of medium will make your writing legible? Example, vellum, white bond paper, scanned and printed. We'll be talking about these as well. So the lettering and the labels are not necessarily a part of the actual image that you will be putting on your board. They're complementary, they accompany it, but they are a separate piece. So prepare any process sketches on trace paper. You will maintain the trace paper, but perhaps cut the edges or trim them if backing is required to make it more legible. This will all begin to make more sense when we look at the templates, because while some of them are formal presentation drawings, others is a demonstration of your process work, which includes the trace paper. So the deliverables for this project. This project is worth 100 points, and it will be graded as follows. The first phase, Strategize and Visualize Planning Guide, plus the Orthographic Projection Planning Drawing is worth 20 points. The Refinement and Improvement of Drawings from Assignment 3 is 20 points. The narration, which is all of the writing, so the titles, the captions, that is worth 20 points. The graphic presentation, which is the overall presentation display, 20 points. And then the craftsmanship, which is 20 points. So that includes everything from your use of the tools, if there's smearing, if there's eraser marks, if you have rough edges that are cut, that type of thing. So here we have the two presentation boards. I can get them just on the screen here. The first one is at the top, the second one is at the bottom. So what we see here, this is my example, Waterside Bistro. So hypothetically, we'll say that's the name of the project. And you give your own project your own name. And then underneath that is where you will write your design concept. And then at the top of the board, you will include 4 experiential photos, which were those really impactful photos, just the photographs, at a 4 by 6 inch size. And this doesn't need to be printed on photo paper, you can if you'd like. It can just be printed in either black and white if that adds to your concept and the impact of the light and shadow, or color just on computer paper. And then at the bottom of the poster, you see that there's these interior drawings. So those are essentially the drawings that you've been working on. There's only 2 now, so we're refining. You have 3 sketches, now we're moving to 2. One of them will hopefully be the standout wow image, and you will recreate that at a full 8.5 by 11 inch size paper, which is the size of a normal piece of computer paper. And then you will also do another drawing, which is the secondary standout image, and it helps elaborate on the first. And that will take up the remaining space on your board, which will be unique to every student, as the design concept and title may impact how much space is left. And then for each image, you see that there is an image title as well as a caption. So you will want to make sure that you are able to write a caption that fully illustrates the intention of your image. So going back to the example that I used for assignment 3, which is where hypothetically the example was, I'm really passionate about the, rhythm of the sun, the circadian rhythm. So we'll say one of my images was all about direct light alignment. So perhaps in my model, I was thinking about how the model components, the walls or the whatever physical parts to it align with that sunlight. And so I wrote a caption similar to this. As the sun rises, a radiant glow is cast through the southeastern dining room, perhaps providing a morning warmth that penetrates into the centralized interior space. Bistro furniture is aligned with the streams of sunlight, creating lines and patterns of light across the floor. So hypothetically, I thought in the morning, the light comes from a certain angle, and because of the pattern that it's coming through that wall, it's creating beams of light across the floor. And I, from a design point of view, am picturing furniture, the tables aligned with those streams of sunlight. And so direct light alignment. And you want to consider design language, design elements and principles when you're writing. The more clear that you can make your image title in terms of what it's achieving, the better. So they do not need to be these flowery titles. Again, these are just the photographs of your work. They're not necessarily your drawings. So you are narrating essentially what the image is showing, but you can also elaborate a little bit on the concept that you had in your mind the whole time. And so I have 2 more examples here that I will let you read and explore on your own. And then the drawings. I actually would like everybody to, when it comes to titling your drawings, think of the universal design principles and how you can incorporate it into your design. So, for instance, for my standout image, I thought light and intuitive use. And then it's an experiential perspective. You'll put that underneath it. You're just identifying what the drawing actually is. And then I wrote, this view illustrates the spatial contrast created by intense solar light radiating through the light well, directed into a centralized activity space for afternoon events. Formal dining areas experience indirect light in the afternoon, creating visual balance and functional harmony. Light acts as a cue for simple and intuitive use of each interior space. So my interpretation of simple and intuitive use in this instance is that the intention of when the rooms are to be used is when the sun is actually directly on them. And so a light well is essentially a skylight that has a dimensionality to it. And so it really directs light into a space, light well. And so I was thinking there could be a light well over the central area where I envision people having lunch at that time of day. So the light and intuitive use indicates that I'm using light to have this intuitive use, where when we see that, we're naturally inclined to understand that that's where the emphasis of everything is happening. And when other spaces are darker, we understand that maybe we're not supposed to go to those spaces, or they're less important. And similar in the smaller drawing, you're going to capture the exact same concepts. On the second page, you will also again have the title of your project, and then underneath it you will use a paragraph to explain the design and model making process. So this could include the inspiration behind your model explorations, the emotions that came to mind, any memories of light and shadow that you were able to incorporate in a structure, and really any of those reflections we made through those reflection questions and that activity for assignment 3. And it doesn't have to be large. Think about how much space you actually have on the page for your text. And then on the right-hand side of the board, just include any process work. So it could be a large piece of trace paper with sketches all over it. It could be photos of your workspace, process photos that you did throughout the whole assignment as you worked. And on the left-hand side, that's where this shelf will come into play. You're going to create a shelf that is made out of foam core and essentially pops out of the board, provides just a little ledge for you to put your model on. And then here is that Strategize and Visualize planning guide. So this is where you're putting all your ducks in a row, your project title, and then the size of lettering. So think about that lettering assignment that we just did in drafting. And if you aren't in drafting, we did a lettering assignment where we were looking at the height of letters. So are they 1/4 inch? Are they an inch? Do they want to be 2 inches? Think about how big you want your letters to be in terms of the title, because then you'll also think about how big you want your letters to be in terms of the design concept, because they will be different sizes. One's a title and one's body text. And then also write your design concept here. And this is, again, part, you're going to be editing and refining it. And then in the next, follow these down. These are to capture each photo. So pick out the photos, or think of the photos that you want to use, whether you've taken them or you still need to take them, or you want to take new ones. Think about what a title could be and the size of that title. And then think about the description or the caption and think about the size of that. So some of these sizes might be the same, or you might have 4 different sizes. You will also think about these exact same things for your sketches, as well as for the process work. So you don't need any extra writing for the process work. This is just listing what you have. So maybe you have a large sheet of trace paper with sketches. Maybe you have 4 photographs that show the workspace of when you built your model. And then you will want to think about the dimensions of your model. Write those down, because that will determine the size of a shelf that you need to build. So there's a orthographic projection planning drawing that you can go from. You might just have to change dimensions to suit your own needs. And then on the front of that shelf, you will write something like process model and scale 1/4 inch. So think about how big you would like that to be. And there is an image of what that would look like right here as well. And these are process models. They're not finished design models. You use them to think about the design and to work through your ideas. And then also just inventory all the supplies you need to do this project. So if you don't already have vellum, think about that. Are you going to need a scanner or a printer? Do you need any types of markers or pencils? Do you have a utility knife or scissors, a ruler, a straight edge, etc.? So this is just inventorying everything that you think you might need ahead of time. This is a good time to also think about acquiring your foam core boards. And then here's the refinement checklist. And it really is just a checklist. Goes through things to consider. Design concept statement. Does your concept statement use design language? Does your concept statement incorporate at least 2 design elements and principles? And then your photographs. Are your photographs taken from a human vantage point? Is the desired light shadow effect successfully captured in the photograph? And so go through each one of these as a checklist as you work through your project. And that is the extent of the description for this assignment. Now I am going to, there will be individual files on e-learning. So here's that orthographic projection, plan, drawing, and dimension. And it's just like you would think about instructions how to fold a box. So you'll have the top where your model will sit, the front where you're going to have your lettering, you'll have the sides, and you'll have the back. And the back is where you will place adhesive and glue to the board, and then the bottom. And each one of these is laid out in an orthographic way because their dimensions are so similar, but some of them are different. So I've indicated which dimensions you will need to know. Let's see here. Computer froze. Okay, this is great. This is what I was looking for. So here we have a side view of the board. This right here represents the foam core board. And then this represents the shelf. So this is that top piece where the model would sit. This is that front piece, the back piece where the glue would go, the side pieces, and then a piece to close off the bottom. So this is just to give you an example. Your shelf doesn't need to be this exact same design. It can be, because we can also talk about how to build these shelves and create a perfect corner when cutting and gluing foam core together, and really any material with a thickness that you're trying to bring together so that you don't see an unfinished edge of the material. And so I will do a video tutorial on that to post. I will do that probably next week because we still have some time before you're going to be in the assembly phase. But the intention is to create a little shelf on your poster, thinking about your poster mounted to the hallway walls at school, and then each one would have a little shelf with your model on it. There will also be just the individual templates on e-learning as well. Oh, and while I have your attention, there is a virtual salon coming up next Saturday. If you attended the first one, it'll be similar. Our intentions for the second one is to have less critique. I know that some of the faculty members, started to act as if it was a critique. And that's definitely something we can do if you want to critique. But it also is a great time to really just talk to your classmates, have discussions. I really enjoyed the conversation of students talking through how to scan things and tips and tricks of the best way to do that. So definitely register to attend. The invitation was emailed out to everybody today via Eventbrite. It might have gone to your junk mail because it does get mailed out from Eventbrite. So anybody can register. all welcome. You do not need to attend the full 3 hours. You can pop in and out. There are 9 spots to sign up if you would like to take 20 minutes and talk about something that you want to talk about, show work, ask questions of your fellow classmates. Since the invitation went out, there are already multiple people inquiring about presenting. I want to say presenting in quotes because it's not a presentation, really. It's very casual, and there's really no pressure at all. And of course, people are already registering to attend as well. We are trying to do this on Saturday. Last time we did it on Friday, but it seems like a lot of people are going to be traveling on Fridays, going back home. And so Saturday is going to be a more relaxed day for people. Even though it seems odd to have it on a Saturday, it does provide different availability and accessibility for others who maybe are not available on Fridays. All right, thank you, everybody.